There is a basic way of thinking that completely reshapes the reality you live in. It doesn't begin on the surface. Not with mantras, not with forced affirmations, not with pure willpower. It starts in a much deeper layer of your mind. It rises from the exact place that decides whether you are reacting to the world or whether you are expressing something real from within yourself. Can you feel that difference? Can you sense the gap between someone always chasing approval and someone who simply stands in their own space and somehow draws the world toward them? This kind of presence has a deeper name in psychology, and it doesn't just change how people notice you. It changes what your life even allows to come toward you. Over the next few minutes, you're going to understand why certain people seem to attract respect, connection, and unexpected opportunities without effort, while others give everything they have, exhaust themselves, and still remain unseen. This has nothing to do with outside tricks or social techniques. It is a core inner reorganization of how your mind is built. Some call this the difference between a fragile ego and an integrated, steady self. You can't see it with your eyes, but its impact is magnetic. What you are learning here is not a quick fix. It is a deep reset of your whole inner system. From the inside out, you're going to understand what it means to think from the framework of a queen, which is the opposite of trying to act like one. And this one shift in perspective unlocks doors that once seemed permanently closed. Picture your mind as an energetic blueprint. Every core belief, every hidden part of you broadcasts a very specific signal. Most people think they can change their lives by forcing a positive thought. But that's like painting over a wall with broken bricks underneath. What truly matters is not the single thought, but the structure that thought comes from. Our inner organization determines whether we send out the energy of someone asking for permission or someone who already knows they belong. A queen never asks if she is allowed to enter a room. Her presence shapes the room the moment she steps in. The space itself adjusts around her. And none of this is arrogance. This is a result of deep inner alignment. When your ego is no longer fighting the parts of yourself you don't want to face, when you stop hiding or rejecting pieces of who you are, your energy stops leaking. You become whole. And this wholeness creates a field people can sense. Before you speak a single word, they can feel that you are not seeking their approval. They can feel that you are not performing or begging to be chosen. And in a strange way, this lack of seeking is the very thing that draws the respect and validation others chase endlessly. Many of us carry an invisible script, a psychological pattern that takes over our reactions. One of the most common is the good girl or orphan pattern. It is born in childhood when we learn that our full brightness is somehow unsafe, that shining too much brings punishment, so we stay small. That pattern whispers, don't speak until you know everyone agrees. Say sorry for taking up space. Be grateful they even looked your way. You know that whisper. It's quiet, but it shapes your entire relationship with the world. As long as you are thinking from that pattern, you are mentally standing outside the door, waiting to be invited in, waiting for someone else to tell you that you can finally be visible. But that invitation isn't coming. The only person who can give it is you. A queen reverses the direction. She asks one question first: does this match my deeper truth? This one reversal changes every relationship around you. It's not selfishness, it is a form of responsible energy. When you stop filling the room with apology or silent fear, you give others the permission to rise into themselves too. You become a mirror of strength, not a mirror of need. And this naturally draws a very different level of people and experiences into your life. The way you see yourself in your mind is the blueprint for how the world treats you. If your inner story still says, I must prove I'm worthy, then you turn yourself into an object waiting for approval. You hand over your power to every opinion, every glance. The real journey is moving from being the one who is judged to being the one who stands in their own judgment. From reacting to life to directing your path, it starts with one meaningful choice. You stop looking at yourself through other people's eyes. A queen holds her own gaze, even when someone rejects her. She knows rejection can't touch her essence. It only shows that the other person cannot rise to her level, and that is perfectly okay. When you live from your center, outside opinions don't stick. They have nowhere to land because you are steady within yourself. This is the turning point. You stop attracting what you fear and start attracting what matches your integrated strength. In this shift, something fundamental changes. Your thinking rises from fear to presence. Fear asks, what will happen if they truly see me? Presence simply says, I am here. No shrinking. No explanation. No asking for permission. This simple presence has power because it doesn't beg, it stands. And when your mind brings together the parts of you that used to fight each other, something whole and steady emerges. Something that doesn't need permission to exist. Most people move through life feeling split inside. They think they must choose between being strong or being gentle, between being independent or being connected, between being bold or being soft. A queen doesn't choose. She includes it all. She understands that real power comes from holding the full range of human experience without judging any part of it. This way of thinking is not just logical and not just emotional. It speaks in symbols. It works through joining, not pushing pieces away. When you stop cutting your inner world into good parts and bad parts, your energy gathers. You become one whole being. And people around you feel it. They don't walk away confused. They walk away clear because you are no longer sending out mixed signals. You are no longer a battlefield of competing impulses, but a steady, integrated landscape. What do you begin to attract then? You stop attracting chaos because you are no longer chaotic inside. You stop attracting people who feed on insecurity because you are no longer showing your open wounds as an invitation. Instead, you begin to attract resonance. You draw in people and situations that match your inner wholeness. This is the quiet secret of magnetic thinking. It begins the moment you end the inner war. Have you ever met someone who had absolutely nothing to prove? Someone who stood there calm, complete, and shifted the energy of the entire room just by being present. That is not luck and not a special talent. It comes from deep inner work. These are people who have faced their shadows, acknowledged the parts they used to push away, and made peace with their opposites. They are not fighting themselves anymore, so they have no reason to fight the world. And you can grow this same quality. It starts with noticing. Notice when you slip into explaining yourself. Notice when you shrink. Notice when you silently wait for permission to take up space. And in those exact moments, pause and ask yourself, what if I didn't have to do this? What if I were allowed to be here as I am? This single question opens a doorway into a completely different pattern of thought. One built not on emptiness, but on fullness. Not on fear, but on trust. Not on proving, but on being. A queen does not argue for her place. She embodies it in her movements, her decisions, even in her silence. Her thinking is not loud or aggressive. It is calm and sure. You will not be understood by everyone. And that is completely okay. When your thinking rises from your inner center, from that stable sense of self, you stop wrestling with people who are not meant to understand you. You let them be, and you stay in your truth. That is real freedom. You do not need to be understood in order to be respected. Your presence is enough. This quiet certainty is magnetic because it doesn't need anything. It doesn't beg. It doesn't demand. It doesn't plead. It simply exists. And anything that is simple, honest, and whole naturally draws in what matches it. Many people spend their lives chasing an outer crown. They chase approval, recognition, success, or love. They think if they can just earn enough, achieve enough, or please enough people, they will finally feel complete. But this path leads nowhere because it is built on a mistake. The belief that wholeness comes from outside. The truth is that wholeness is uncovered, not created. You don't build the self. You remove the layers that cover it. The queen inside you is always there, hidden under old rules, old wounds, old fears. The journey is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before you were told who to be. Do you remember who you were before you learned to shrink, to adjust, to hide what was true? That original self, unfiltered and whole, that is your queen. She never vanished. She has been waiting for you to peel away the masks and see her again. And when you begin thinking from that place of remembering, everything shifts. Not because the outside world changed, but because you return to your center. You stop looking for someone else to complete you, because you finally understand that completeness was always built in. This realization is revolutionary. It ends the endless trying, the desperate searching, the constant sense that something is missing. Suddenly life feels lighter, not because obstacles disappear, but because you're no longer fighting yourself inside them. You are no longer split, so the world no longer has to mirror that split back to you. You draw in what matches your essence and release what doesn't without drama, without guilt, without hesitation. A queen's thinking is not based on strategy. It is intuitive. It doesn't ask, how do I get what I want? It asks, what is true for me? And this question opens doors the strategic mind could never even see. Because when you act from your truth, you move with life instead of against it. When your inner world is ordered, your outer world begins to organize itself around it. Not by magic, but by alignment. Your inner reality sends out a signal, and the world responds. A queen sends out the signal of sovereignty, and life answers with circumstances that match that sovereignty. This does not mean difficulty disappears. It means you face difficulty differently. Not as someone helpless, not as someone being acted upon, but as someone who understands that challenge is part of the path. You don't lose your center when things go wrong because your center is no longer built on things going right. That steadiness is what others find so magnetic. People search for an anchor, for someone who doesn't collapse with the storm. Someone who carries an inner calm, even when everything around them is loud and uncertain. That is real leadership, not through force, but through presence. A queen does not hide her strength. She does not apologize for her existence. She does not over-explain. She stands there whole and steady. And because this quality is so rare in a world that teaches us to bend and fit in, it becomes magnetic. People sense that this is someone who has stopped playing games, someone who is done performing, someone who is not chasing approval, but is simply being real. And in a world full of masks, realness is a miracle. Your shadows are not your enemies. They are the parts of you that you pushed away, asking to be seen. When you turn toward them, they stop controlling you. They become sources of power. Suddenly, you access strength you never knew you had. Think about it. Imagine spending your whole life using energy to push down anger, ambition, passion, or grief. What if you could reclaim that energy just by allowing those parts to exist? Not by acting them out recklessly, by acknowledging them, giving them room, understanding why they are there. This is the difference between someone who fears their own power and a queen who owns it. A queen is not afraid of her intensity. She knows she can be gentle and fierce, soft and strong, open and powerful. She is not reduced to a single role. She is the whole range, and this fullness shows up in her life. You stop attracting people who want only a part of you. You begin attracting people who can see and value all of you. You draw in situations that require your whole self. Your life becomes richer. Not because you have more, but because you are more. When you stand in your own center, you no longer depend on outside approval. You are not driven by fear of rejection or hunger for praise. You carry yourself. You rest inside yourself and act from that place. Not out of reaction, but out of awareness. Not pushed from the outside, but guided from within. This is what royal thinking means. You are your own authority, not stubborn, not closed, but clear, and clarity shines, it becomes a lighthouse in the fog. People who are searching for their own center can feel it when you found yours. They see in you something they are trying to awaken in themselves. And this is the real gift of a queen, not to save anyone, but to show through her presence that they carry their own royalty too. You cannot rescue people, you cannot change them, and you cannot heal them. But you can stand so deeply in your truth that others feel permitted to do the same. You become a mirror, not a hero. And that is far more powerful because it lifts people up instead of making them dependent. A queen doesn't interfere in other kingdoms. She honors boundaries, her own and those of others. She knows when it is time to offer and when it is time to step back. She understands that every person has to find their own center, and she can't take that journey for them, no matter how much she may care. This wisdom comes with maturity, with knowing that love isn't about protecting someone from the results of their choices, but standing with them as they learn. True love strengthens. It does not weaken. It holds space without trying to fix. It supports without taking over. When you love from a place of fullness, not from fear or emptiness, your love turns into a force that heals without hurting. It challenges without crushing. It gives without draining because it comes from a deep well inside you, your integrated self. And when you begin to live from this pattern, something beautiful begins to shift. Things start aligning, not because you push or struggle, but because you are finally living in harmony with who you really are. Doors open, people show up, opportunities arise, almost as if life was simply waiting for you to arrive in your true self. A queen does not wait for perfect conditions. She builds her throne wherever she stands. She knows that sovereignty is not a place. It is a way of being. She can live in a palace or a tiny apartment. It makes no difference. Her royalty isn't about the outside, it's an inner posture. And you can take that posture right now. You don't have to wait until everything is fixed, until every wound is healed, until you feel prepared. The queen inside you is already here, beneath the doubts and fears. She's simply waiting for you to acknowledge her. Do you hear her? That voice inside you that has always known, that never lost faith, that remained calm and steady, that is your royal essence. It survived every storm, every heartbreak, every setback. It cannot be destroyed because it does not depend on the outside world. When you begin to think from this place, your whole reality begins to shift. You stop attracting from fear. You start attracting from truth. You stop attracting from lack. You start attracting from wholeness. You stop attracting from desperation. You start attracting from sovereignty. And what comes into your life will reflect this shift. People who see your worth. Circumstances that respect who you are. Opportunities that awaken your real potential. This is the secret you attract what you truly are, not what you pretend to be. And the more you step into your truth, the more magnetic your life becomes. This doesn't mean life will suddenly become easy, but it means you will carry an anchor within you that nothing can shake. You won't fall apart when things go wrong because your center no longer depends on anything external. It lives inside you, steady and sure. There is an inner image of your whole self, a sense of who you were always meant to become. It evolves over time. It grows with you. But it has always been there like a seed, waiting to grow into the full tree of who you really are. And that fully expressed version of you is what the world needs, not another copy, not another mask, not another person bending themselves to fit in, The world needs you, your full, honest, radiant self. That is your contribution. That is your throne. That is your crown. You don't earn it. You don't fight for it. You don't need someone else to hand it to you. It has always been yours. You only stopped wearing it. But right now, in this moment, you can choose to remember. And it starts with a quiet decision. I will not apologize for existing. I will not shrink myself. I will not ask for permission to live my own life. I will take my place, not with arrogance, but with dignity. Not with force, but with certainty. When you live from that decision, everything shifts. Your voice steadies. Your boundaries sharpen. Your choices become truer. You stop working against yourself and begin moving with yourself. And that is when life stops feeling like a battle and starts becoming a dance. Not everyone will understand your dance. Not everyone will hear your music. And that is completely fine. A queen doesn't dance for approval. She dances because the dance is her truth, her freedom, her joy. The ones who are meant for your path will hear your rhythm and join you. The rest will walk past, and that's okay too. You are not here to satisfy everyone. You are here to live your truth. And that truth is the most powerful kind of magnet. It draws toward you what belongs and sends away what does not. Trust this. Trust your inner queen. She knows the way even when your mind is unsure. The path won't always feel easy. It will ask you to release your old habits. Let go of old roles. Step beyond your comfort zone. But it will lead you home to yourself. And that is the only journey that truly matters. This is the return to your throne. The reclamation of your power, your dignity, your sovereignty. No one ever stole it. You simply forgot it. But now you can reclaim it with one decision. I remember who I truly am, and who are you? Not the version shaped by fear, not the version that tries too hard, not the version that hides. You are the queen who never left, the one who stayed inside you all along, waiting for your courage to rise. She is your essence, your truth, your strength. When you think from that place, act from that place, act live from that place, you attract everything. Not because of the effort you put in, but because of the person you are becoming. You are whole. And wholeness calls in everything aligned with it. The ancient secret of the queens was never a secret. It was simply overlooked. It lived inside you the whole time. You only needed to know where to look within, to remember. And now that you are remembering, what will you choose? These are not just nice questions. They're a real invitation. No one else can walk this part for you. No one else can lift your crown and place it on your head. You must lift it yourself, confidently, with both hands. And when you do, when you truly enter your sovereignty, you'll watch the world rearrange itself around your new energy. Not because you command it, but because everything begins to respond to your alignment. When you live this truth, not just think it, your whole presence shifts. People will feel it. They'll sense something in you, even if they can't explain what changed. You won't need to justify anything. A queen never explains her royalty. She simply lives it. Your life becomes the message. Your presence becomes the invitation. Your truth becomes your offering to the world. And if these words have awakened something in you, if a realization surfaced, if a question rose, share it. What part of this journey speaks to you? Where do you see your own queen? And where do you still feel yourself holding back? Connecting with others walking this path can be powerful. You are not walking alone. Maybe this is the first time you've heard these words. Or maybe they simply awaken something you quietly knew all along. Either way, this moment matters. You didn't come here by accident. Something in you is ready to rise, to remember, to awaken. Honor that pull. Follow it, trust it. The queen inside you is no longer waiting. She is rising now. She is placing her crown. She is sitting on her throne. Not someday, right now. With every breath, every choice, every moment she becomes clearer, stronger, more present. You are her. She is you. There is no separation anymore. This is the arrival. The discovery that what you were seeking was always within you. The queen was always there as you. The search ends here. The remembering is complete. Welcome home. Welcome to your sovereignty.